ABC7 police says juvenile accused of deleting family member, second person at mobile home park. These teenagers, don't turn your back on them, you guys. Don't go over there trying to act like back in the olden days that you can correct and chastise them, especially if they're not your kid, because they're gonna put that strap on you. This is in Amarillo, Texas. So here, original story. Amarillo police are investigating a homicide after 2 people were found dead inside a mobile home around 12:15 p.m. Lakeview mobile home. Wow, a lot happening. Police later said the 2 bodies were found to have gunshot wounds. The victims have been identified: Tyler Knight, 33, and Bethany Mullican, 29. A family member was taken into custody for the murders, police said. Teen indicted for brutal double murder, and this is current. This is January 27, 2023 from San Angelo Live. An Amarillo teen was indicted by grand jury for the capital murder of his father. I don't know why they didn't say it in the first story. His father and his father's girlfriend back in November. According to court documents, on January 27, 2022, a Powder County grand jury indicted Chris Lee Knight, 15, of Amarillo for capital murder of multiple persons. Knight's father, Tyler, 33, and his girlfriend, Bethany, 28, was found dead in Lakeview mobile home November the 7th, 2022. Knight has been charged as an adult. However, Knight is being held in the youth center. If convicted, Knight could face the death penalty. Why y'all not showing his mugshot? That's what I want to know. Why? That's what it gets me. They show some people faces and some people faces they don't show. Even with the sex abuse or the molestation cases, they'll show some people faces and some people they don't. And I don't mean the kids, I mean the parents, or give the names. Some people, they'll show the parents' faces, pictures all over the place. And then some people, they won't show because we want to protect the confidentiality of the child or whatever. Well, why you show it on some people and you don't show it on others? Yeah, I went there, you guys. I went there. Moving on, we're getting close to the end. This happened, I want to say last year, a year before last, but it's sad. A man deleted Hudson Tillison student in her apartment after 2 days. 2 days. Please teach your young ladies, your young women, self-defense and how to spot a rabid, feral creature, a rabid feral coyote, or a harmless garter snake from a poisonous snake. Please teach your daughters. Austin police have arrested a man they believe is connected with the March death of 21-year-old student Natalia Cox, pretty little girl. Henry Watson, 24, is accused of killing Cox, a senior at Houston, I don't know if it's Houston or Huston Tillison University in Austin, March the 31st, at Canyon Point Apartments. Watson's arrest affidavit shows police responded to a report of a terroristic threat regarding Cox and Watson a week before the alleged murder.
21-year-old Austin College student are fighting for change after their daughter was murdered, allegedly by a man she just met.
They're suing her apartment complex, claiming she warned them about the threat she was facing. The KVUE defenders found state law could have protected her, but it wasn't enough. Tonight, the family wants to know why. Here's KVUE's Bryce Newberry.
She was such an inspiration.
Natalia Cox was a star student, passionate cheerleader, and aspiring plastic surgeon. The 21-year-old from North Texas was set to graduate from Houston Tillotson University this spring.
She was kind of that balance that kind of held everyone together.
But her promising young life was cut short in March. Her parents, Lester and Lakeisha, think her murder could have been prevented.
We were obviously in shock and in disbelief.
Police arrested 24-year-old Henry Watson for her murder, a man investigators say she'd been on 2 dates with. According to court documents, he showed up outside Natalia's apartment 1 week earlier on March 24th, just 3 days after they met. She wouldn't let him in and told investigators Watson was holding a gun in front of the camera during a FaceTime video call. Watson told Cox to, quote, open the door or he was going to shoot it open. She called 911. Austin police responded, but the case was not assigned to a detective until March 30th, 6 days later. The detective told us Watson committed a terroristic threat offense, but police never arrested him or referred the case to prosecutors. Then, before dawn on March 31st, 7 days after he allegedly threatened Natalia, Austin police responded to calls of shots fired at the apartment complex where she lived. She was found dead inside.
This wasn't necessarily domestic violence that happened over a long period of time. It happened very quickly.
Once in custody, detectives connected Watson to a second murder on March 25th, less than 24 hours after he first threatened Cox. Natalia's family now suing the company that owns Colonial Grand at Canyon Point, alleging she and her roommate asked to move out following Watson's threat. The lawsuit claims they were told to pay a new application fee, an administrative fee, a new security deposit, and 2 months of rent, but they couldn't afford it.
She said, I need to get out of my lease. I'm not safe here. He knows where I lived. He threatened my life. I need to urgently relocate.
Bianca Marolis represents Natalia's family. They claim the complex management was negligent for not letting her move without penalties.
And they failed to take that threat seriously, and it ultimately resulted in her tragic death.
We reached out to Colonial Grand at Canyon Point. They referred us to company lawyers who, in their response to the lawsuit, denied the allegations. The K-View defenders found existing state law allows domestic violence victims to break a lease by showing documentation like an emergency protective order. But Natalia had a police report. She didn't have that order, and it would have been extremely difficult to get one in the mere days she had before being killed.
Unfortunately, the system just wasn't fully working for her.
State Representative Vicki Goodwin represents Northwest Austin. She says it highlights the need for a stronger law to protect victims.
If somebody comes to your door and threatens you with a gun, you can go before a judge and have the judge say that the gun needs to be removed from that person who's been a threat.
But state lawmakers won't convene for a regular legislative session until early 2023. The domestic violence advocacy group Safe Alliance hopes Natalia's murder can spark a shift much sooner.
I believe that if the apartment complex had known that they could reach out to Safe, they would have probably taken very different steps.
Safe's Dr. Jacqueline Smith-Francis believes education is the key to change.
Can we get to a point in our society, Bryce, where we trust people who say that they're being abused and we believe them, right? And then we set up systems and steps by which we can actually support them, even if we do not have the quote unquote legal documentation.
Natalia Cox found her calling.
In May, Natalia's alma mater paid tribute to her, presenting her family with an honorary degree.
We knew what a special child she was.
Cox's professor, Amanda Massino.
Just one of those people who wants to contribute, and she wanted to make the world better, and she found so many ways to do it.
She meant a lot to a lot of people.
For Lester and Lakeisha, it's now about finding a new way to navigate life without their bright light, while still remembering Natalia's impact.
You think about power. It's strength, yes, power and strength, but it's strength in love and in strength in enduring and fighting for what you believe. And so that's, for me, is this, my baby represented strength.
Strength, they hope, leads to a safer Texas. In Austin, for the K-View defenders.
Corey told police she had only met Watson 3 days before and gone on 2 dates with him. Did y'all hear me? Cox reportedly, meaning Natalia Monet, told the police she had only met Watson, diabolical creature, cockroach, I said it, cockroach, on steroids, 3 days before and had gone on 2 dates with him. Then in the early morning hours of March the 31st, police say Watson showed up at her apartment with a gun. Cox reportedly texted Watson that she wasn't feeling well and didn't want him to come over, but Watson did anyway. Then police say she heard a knock at the door. Cox asked Watson if he was there, and he replied, "Open the door. Homie, you don't pay bills here. You don't pay bills here. If you don't pay bills, don't be coming around unannounced. Don't come around trying to run things. You want to run, go run a marathon." Okay, here, Cox called him via FaceTime when Watson reportedly said he had a gun and he was going to shoot the door open if she didn't open it. A roommate then called police, and Cox continued talking to Watson to calm him down. That's a cuckoo bird there, a dangerous one. Police say Cox received text messages from people identifying themselves as family members of Watson 4 days after that incident on March the 25th. One of them from someone identified as Watson's father said Watson was very suicidal and wanted to talk to her about what happened. She didn't reply. She received another text from the same number nearly 24 hours later asking her to meet at another apartment complex, and she never replied. The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force found Watson sleeping in his car in Round Rock Park parking lot. Authorities report this was the same vehicle recorded on surveillance footage leaving the scene March the 31st within a few minutes after the first 911 call. Really? So now he's sleeping. Detectives say they found a 9mm handgun ammunition in Watson's car when they searched it 8 April. Police also found a pry bar. Detectives say there were pry bar marks on the door frame of Cox's apartment. This guy's just demonic. An autopsy determined Cox's death was homicide by gunshot wounds. Watson now faces a first-degree felony murder charge. He's scheduled to appear in court on June the 10th, according to records. This poor girl. This poor young lady. She should have called her parents. She should have asked for the police to I don't know what the word is called, where they watch your house. She should have probably went, but then she had a roommate. Then the roommate, that's another thing. Now your roommate is in danger when there's, these crazies on the loose. Prayers go out to Miss Natalia and her family, and that this guy, I don't want to hear nothing about the mental card. I don't want to hear nothing about the health card. I don't want to hear that he was having a bad day. I don't want to hear that he was mad that she, basically what he was is another incel. An incel, one of those, they don't get their way. Just sickening. Prayers go out